In the beginning, you're brought up in power. Making sense?
Yes.
This one strategy, if you use it on stage, will actually double your close and have nothing to do with your product because you're getting the endorsement of your trusted advisor. Making sense?
Yes.
Are you guys getting this?
Yes.
Okay. The second thing you want to do is when people get on a webinar on stage, they want to talk at people. Kind of like a football coach talking to kids. That's a bad strategy. A better strategy to excite the imagination of the audience. Bring them into your conversation. We're going to learn a couple of NEEP techniques by grabbing the subconscious mind, exciting the imagination, and we're going to use a technique called Have You Ever Wondered? So you want to grab that attention. The third thing you want to do is introduce what we call the yes state. All great successful salespeople know that 7 yeses equals a what?
Sale.
Think of this. The audience can do one of two things. They can agree with you, or they can disagree with you. So you want small commitments throughout your presentation. In fact, the very first sell of the presentation is getting the audience to agree with you. And you want to make sure you don't have fun to say yes to. Making sense?
Yes.
Small agreements will equal the big commitment. Did you get that?
Yes.
Small commitments equals the big commitment. Especially on webinars. So if you're doing webinars, who's going to be doing webinars? Let me see your hands. How many want me to share with you one strategy that will double your close? Anybody interested?
Yes.
I don't have to teach you so you don't want it. Who's interested?
Yes.
So when I did a webinar to a big list, and I did the webinar. And at the end of the webinar, you can pull up the report of the stats of how many people were on, who dropped off. You can pull up the stats. What's interesting, that when they pull up the stats, they see so much interaction. They see so much engagement on my webinar. It's like, oh my gosh, Dave, how did you do that? And so what I use as a technique is I would say when I do my webinar, this is not a webinar training. This is an interactive web class, interaction training. And I don't start the webinar until I get everybody to comment, chat, or agree with me and get them engaged. Making sense? Did you guys get that?
Yes.
Because if you don't get them engaged and get them to respond to small commitments, when you offer up the offer, the big commitment, they're not going to do it. It's called conditioning. It's like Pavlov's dogs. He rang the bell and got the dogs to do what? Right? So, the next thing is what we call framing. Now, before I talk about framing, I just want to kind of pull up, the solution is to this. I want to pull up a quick little story. So, back when I was learning this, and you understand how I learned this is I spoke at lunch and at dinner. I tested what color shirt to wear, what color tie to wear. I tested what side of the stage you put your product on. How do you communicate? Where do the slides go? What order? What color? Every single thing affects the close. It was amazing. I would make one shift. Whoop! Instead of making 10,000, I made 50,000 that talk. And I changed a couple things. And for 50,000, I made 100,000 that talk. Unbelievable, the big magnitude. You have to understand, in this industry, small gates swing big doors. I want you to understand that. Each one of these techniques will add zeros into your business. Making sense?
Yes.
Are you guys getting this?
Yes.
Would this work for you?
Yes.
Can you see yourself doing that?
Yes.
There's 4 yeses. You're sold. Is it okay if we have some fun?
Sure.
Okay. So, I'm going to give you a strategy that is a great strategy for webinars. This is one of the biggest challenges that if you're doing webinars is what? Is when people register for the webinar, they start watching the webinar, what happens to most people before the end of the webinar? They do what?
They fall off.
They fall off, right? So if they dropped off, let's say you had 200 people that were on, and by the offer, there's only 100. So you lost out on 100 people that can hear your amazing opportunity, correct?
Yes. Right.
So if I can show you a way how to make sure everybody stays to the end, instead of talking to 100 people, talk to 200 people. with that increase, it probably doubled the sales. How many of you think that?
Yes.
You want to know why I did it?
Yes.
So, it's what's called framing. And I'm not going to go into detail, too much depth about the subconscious mind here, but understand this. There's two parts of mind. We've got the conscious and the subconscious. What we want to do is we want to set the frame in the subconscious. Because whatever the mind believes will happen, most likely will happen to it. So the subconscious mind, you want to set what they call the pre-frame. And what you want to do is what a strategy called open loop and future pacing. So what you want to do is you want to have a slide in your webinar, which is the fourth slide, which is the what you're about to discover slide. And what you're going to do is you're going to pre-frame your talk, and you're going to open loop them. And when you do this correctly, they'll be hanging on to every
syllable.
And they'll be finishing your
Sentence.
Making sense?
Yes. Yes.
So when you open loop them, then they'll be wanting to stay to the
End.
In fact, I'm going to tell you something really powerful. My friend I talked to, Rob, now I'm going to tell you something really, really, really important. But let me get back to open looping and framing. You know what he said?
Yeah.
Have tons of fun with Dave, right? So we've got to create that curiosity. And that will make sure we stay at the end. In fact, I want to tell you a quick story. I met Robert Allen, who most of you probably know. He's written many books, been in this industry for a long time. And real quick, I want to play this little story about how he saw me with this blueprint and what he thinks about this blueprint. So let's take a quick look here.
Hi, my name is Robert Allen. I'm the author of some best-selling books you might have heard of: Nothing Down, Creating Wealth, Multiple Streams of Income, The 1 Minute Millionaire, and a bunch of others have sold millions of copies and helped thousands of people become financially free. I met a friend who told me about Dave Van Hoos, and I'd never heard of the gentleman before, if I can be totally honest. And what I heard about this friend telling me about him is this is a guy who delivers. Now, if you're a speaker, if you have a message in you that you want to get out to the world, more than likely you've got it on a PowerPoint, you're speaking from stages, and you're probably not closing the way you want to close. This guy is the guy that can take that dream of yours of speaking on stages all around the world and can help you create a PowerPoint, can literally guide you through the process. And why is he so good at this? Because 3,000 presentations he has given, he's gotten to the point where he knows if he wears a red tie or a yellow tie, which one closes better. This guy is a scientist when it comes to speaking. And no one in the world, not including myself, can teach you more about how you can be a public speaker than this guy right here. Nobody.
Nobody. That's from Robert G. Allen, who's done $1 billion in the speaking info business. I've read 3 of his books. Amazing. In fact, he called me up. I'll never forget the story. I'm in my office. What we do is we bring speakers and entrepreneurs, network marketers to our office, and we sit down with them and we build their PowerPoint presentations, their offer, their slides. So I'm in my office, and my partner Debbie gets a call and says, "Hey, there's somebody on the phone who wants to talk to you. He says he's a speaker and he wants to come in, and have you write his presentation." And I'm like, "Well, okay, so what's his name?" He says his name is Bob. So I picked up, I'm like, "Hey, Bob." And he says, "Yeah, I've been speaking for about 20 years, and I want to get off the road. I don't want to speak anymore. I just want to do a webinar, and I just want to have people do a mastermind, invite them to my house, charge $25,000, and do a mastermind. But I don't want to go on an airplane." Okay, that's pretty easy. I've written many webinars for coaching and masterminds and retreats. I said, "But I'm really booked up. I'm not sure if I can get you in." He says, "Oh, yeah, but I really want to make sure I get off the road." I'm like, "Man, this voice sounds familiar." I go, "What's your name?" He goes, "This is Bob." I go, "By the way, are you Robert Allen?" He goes, "Yeah, this is Bob Allen." I go, "The Bob Allen?" He's like, "Okay, Mr. Bob Allen, we can get you in. Yeah, we do some stuff. No problem." So it's really fun. I get to work with so many different industries and a lot of fun people. And so if you're thinking about selling on a webinar, a high-ticket item, you can. And you can sell a coaching program, a retreat, a boot camp for the webinar. It's very, very fun. Now, after you come into the frame, Then you want to come up to here to why your topic. So you want to get the audience excited about your topic, and you want to make your presentation, write this down, what's in it for them. Okay? And then you want to come up here to credibility. Because when you're the authority, people listen to you. It gives you instant influence. And when you speak, people listen. So you want to use and make sure you're the expert. Now, I got a question for you. How many of you just want me to share with you a Ninja Jedi strategy? You know a Ninja Jedi strategy?
Yes!
Oh, that's not enough for you. I don't have to teach those. You guys want a powerful one?
Yes!
I'm sure you're ready for this one.
Yes!
Okay. So I'll give you, this is a cool one. And I'm a presentator in this workshop that I teach all these techniques. So I was speaking in Europe last year at the World Speaker Summit. And typically when you speak, sometimes there's multiple speakers and the audience gets tired. So by the time I come to stage, the audience is like this. You know. And so I had to presentate them. So I took my toolbox out and I took a tool out. I took a what out?
Toolbox.
And I said, hey, I got the credibility. I said, speakers, entrepreneurs, network marketers. I said, you want to become the expert. You want to be the authority. I said, let me give you an example. If I was speaking on stage as the authority, or let's just say Warren Buffett, or somebody else successful, like Richard Branson, who would you guys listen to more, right? To them, right? I said, what kind of people are they? Very successful, very powerful, very confident, right? I said, you want to make sure that you're the expert, right?
Yes.
Now, when I did that, Paul said, what? Let me rewind and show you what I really did. Let me go back here, right? I was here, right? Who was here? Warren Buffett.
Big
Warren Buffett or
Right?
Richard Branson.
What happens when I stepped into that space?
You became the authority. Yeah.
Okay. Wow.
Cool. How many of you like that one?
Woo!
Can you give me a hand down? That's cool. So in the introduction, you want to have an introduction. You want to grab the attention. Introduce the yes state. Frame your talk, open loop them. Why your topic? Why now? Incredibility. And then you want to come into the story. You follow me on that?
Yes.
Yes.
Making sense?
Yes.
Are you guys getting this?
Yes.
Okay? Then you want to come into the story. Now, the story is a very cool thing. Because the story is this. Let me ask you this question. Do people buy the product or do they buy you? You, right? So stop selling the product. So people don't like you and trust you, they won't buy from you. So this is why you tell the story, right? You want to tell an emotional story. Now, real quick, before that, I want to tell you about one of my clients. His name is Timur. Timur was from Russia, and I met Timur. I was working at the Dan Kennedy event, younger kid, and I wrote his webinar presentation for him. He's probably made $3 million from it today. But real quickly, I told him about how to do the story, and before I teach that, I want to hear real quick what he has to say. Let's listen.
Hello, this is Timur, and I want to say a couple words about Damon Booth. He's a person who changed my life. A few years ago, I decided to take power lifting, and for me it was a really tough decision because this was a big amount of money, and I've never been spending big amount of money for only one day. So, actually, from my first webinar, I got investment many times back because I earned about $60,000, 60, from my very first webinar using Dave's presentation. And I realized that's good investment, that's good return on investment. Then I talked to Dave, I said, oh Dave, I want to do another product launch. First one was about YouTube, so let's launch a Facebook course, can you create a presentation for me? And they laughed at me. He said, of course I can do, Timur, but you already know everything. You have working presentation. Just change YouTube to Facebook and just change content slide. So I did, and I was able to repeat the same results. We got a lot of money, and we were crushing it. So, About half a year ago, there was a huge conference for all info marketers in Russia, and they invited about 20 people who are the best sellers, who is doing a lot of big sales, and to share their experience. And I've been speaking with the same presentation. By the way, I've been using it like for all kinds of products, for info marketing. I was teaching info marketing, social media, YouTube, Facebook, everything. So, and it's always the same presentation what Dave wrote for me. So, on this conference, I was able to outsell everybody, and I was the best-selling speaker of the conference. And our guys who organized it, they were so happy, so they invited me half year after. So this September 2015, it was another conference by the same organizer, and they're again inviting top info marketers. Unfortunately, I couldn't came to this conference because my Russian passport is expired and I need to renew it, so I couldn't go. And they were asking me, like, Timur, you're a best-selling speaker, can you please come? We know that you're going to do good from selling from a platform. And what I decided to do, instead of me, I sent my business partner, and she's been never selling anything. Not from webinars, not from stage. So she does marketing actually, and she works with the team, and she's never been selling anything. So I sent her instead of me, and I gave her my presentation, what they wrote for me, and we spent about hour and a half. I told her NLP techniques that Dave taught me. I told her about future pacing, trial clauses, all the basic stuff that Dave is going to share with you on a Power Day. And I couldn't believe it. She called me and she said that I'm the best-selling speaker. I was able to outsell everybody. There was info marketers with 10 years of experience, and she was able to outsell all of them. And again, this was her first time speaking from stage, first time ever, first time speaking and selling.
Can you imagine the marketing girl goes to Russia, which, by the way, the females there are a little suppressed, not like in this country, and this young little marketing girl who's never spoken in her life uses this blueprint and outsells all those guys. Let's get it. So I'm here to personally challenge the female energy. It's time for you to step into your greatness. It's time. When I first started speaking, when I first started speaking, 99% men. The entrepreneurship, the female speaker on the rise. If you're a female and want to speak, it's easy. I've never ever seen a better time than now. My gosh, there's so many gigs for you. There's so little speakers that are female, they know how to speak. It's like the supply and demand curve that I learned in college in economics. The demand is huge, there's no supply. It's time. The seminar business is back, baby. It's time for those that have the courage and take action to use the system to make it happen. The opportunity is here, my friends. It's only those that have the courage to step into their greatness and take action. That's the courage. What's interesting about that is you learn a couple things. You learn this blueprint. He wrote multiple different presentations. That's what I created this. Like the assembly line. My grandfather worked with Henry Ford. They would take the assembly line and build the cars. Instantly, they could change it, and when the wars came, they'd build tanks and planes. That's what this is built for. You have to write a presentation for a mastermind. Boom, you have a system. You have to write a presentation for YouTube, for Facebook, for internet marketing, for whatever. You have a system. A proven, trackable, scalable system. That's what I want you to get. Now, tell your story. You guys want to know another ninja strategy?
Yes. Yes!
Who's going to be speaking on some stages? Let me see your hand. Say yes.
Yes!
Let me give you a cool one here. So, most people, when they speak on the stage.
Okay.
That's the worst place for you to be.
Oh.
What? And most people, when they speak behind the podium. I want to show you something real quick. Come over here. Put your hand up for a moment. If I push, he pushes back. There's resistance. I'm teaching you non-resistance communication. What kind of resistance?
Non-resistance.
He's got resistance. So, when you're speaking on the stage, there's an imaginary line. You versus them. Resistance. So, when you tell your story, you're going to do what? Get off the stage.
Get in amongst the audience.
You're going to come out here, you're going to tell your story, and you're going to connect. And when you tell your story, what you're going to do is when you connect with one, you connect with
all of them.
So story time is connection time. Make sense?
Yes.
You really want to come out here and you got to communicate. All the speakers, let's say come to my training, stay on the stage behind the podium, scared to death. No, you come out, you presentate them, you connect, you emotionally move them, you tell your story. Because all buying decisions are based on what?
Emotion.
This is where you build emotion. Now I can tell you a whole bunch more about how to tell your story and build your story, but we need to go on. How many of you like the ninja strategies? Anybody like those ninja strategies?
Yes.
Anybody want more of those?
Yes.
Wow, let's do some more. So now we're going to come down here to the offer. Now, with the offer is a very powerful thing. This book, go back on this. So what you want to do when you get to here is I want to tell you to stop selling and start solving problems. Everybody goes from pain toward pleasure. So all I want you to do is target the problem, turn up the problem, and offer them the solution. It should be seamless, like you swing a golf club or a tennis racket. It should be effortlessly. And I'm teaching you non-resistance communication. What kind of resistance?
Non-resistance.
Are you following me on that?
Yes.
Is this making sense?
Yes.
Are you getting this?
Yes.
Are you getting this?
Yes.
Getting this?
Yes.
Somebody might get that one. Okay, it's okay if I have some fun. Alright, let me tell you another story. This is cool. This is Rich Shepherd. How many know who Rich is by chance? Famous internet marketer, very shy, very introverted. So I've worked with some dynamic speakers like Steve the Hurricane, that have massive talent. And then I work with others that are engineer types. Rich engineer type. In fact, when two people get around him, he starts shaking, he gets nervous. So what I did is I wrote his webinar presentation, and he automated it. So imagine this, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, he has his presentation, his message, spinning and spinning online. Okay, and then you learned yesterday from all the traffic strategies, traffic Facebook, LinkedIn, you got direct mail, JVs, and all you're doing is driving traffic into your automated webinar. How many of you like that strategy? Does that make money in your sleep?
Yes.
Absolutely. If you're not doing that strategy, it's criminal. Do you know how hard it is to get on the phone and call people one-to-one, and oh yeah, I got this thing, and then call Facebook? I mean, that's rolling a boulder up a mountain. If that's your strategy, quit. That ain't gonna work. How many people can you call on the phone? How many people are going to say no? How hard is it? I want you to work smarter, not harder.
Yes.
How easy is it to automate a webinar, write the webinar, follow my script, record it, automate it, and you're done. And just drive traffic, isn't that? So here's Rich. Rich shy guy, he would never pick up a phone, he'd be too inferior. Let's listen to what he has to say.
Hi, Rich Shepherd here, and I just got done with my power day here at Seven Figure Speaking Empire. That's right, right?
It's funny, they forget my name.
Because this has just been such an intense day, and it was nothing like I was actually thinking it was going to be. I was so worried that I was going to have to change everything I did, that I was going to have to make a choice between delivering great value and making sales. And it was nothing like that. In fact, every fear I had was unfounded, but even better than that, what was probably the best part was that I'm leaving here with a great presentation that I know is going to convert a lot better than the presentations that I've used in the past. And I have a formula that each and every time I need to make a presentation, I'm convinced instead of spending like a week or a week and a half, 2 weeks, 3 weeks on creating a presentation, I'll be able to get it done in a day. And not only will I be able to get it done in a day, it will be a better presentation. And it will follow a very specific structure that, based on my experience in NLP and hypnosis, I'm positive that it's going to convert much, much better. And it's also going to be more powerful and make a bigger impact on everybody that actually gets exposed to that message.
So he has a system. You need a system to write your presentations. Because there's two types of speakers. Kind of like athletes. When I used to be in professional football as a trainer, we would draft athletes. Typically two types of athletes. One that had talent. One that was unbelievable talent on the football field. And then some that would have mechanics, systems, and processes. And what I'm here to tell you is that talent can win you games. Mechanics win you consistent championships. And for some of you have the talent. And when I met Steve the Hurricane, I said, Steve, you have the talent. And they don't have to learn mechanics. But when you take the mechanics I taught Steve with the talent, bam, it's amazing. Now, for those of you who don't have the talent, when you take the mechanics, you will be able to beat the talented folks. Guaranteed. Promise. That's why I'm taking the time to really go over this in detail so that you will have an unfair advantage. You've got to be number one. You got to be what?
Number one.
I'm going to promise you, you will be number one. When you follow my system, you will be number one. It's all about being number one. I got to get you to win. It's because of my sports background. I want you to win big. Making sense?
Yes.
So after this, we come down here to the bottom. This is where I want you to build value. Write this down. I'm going to use what they call education-based marketing. What kind of marketing?
Education-based.
So we're going to educate them. Now, I'm going to give you an idea for you to consider. When you're doing a presentation, or typically, even a sales rep, one-on-one presentation or webinar, everything's a presentation. Typically, the prospects of the audience are going to have objections, right? Objections. Mm-hmm. So I'm just curious, how are you guys handling objections? Typically, you say, I don't have the time, I don't have the money, this won't work for me, right?
Okay.
Mm-hmm. So what do we do to overcome objections? What's some strategies? What do you guys do? Okay, dress it before it comes up. Good. Anybody else? What else are we doing? Okay? Tell them how you work. Well, the best way to overcome objections, I'm going to tell you, is right here. Is right here. Social proof. The best way to overcome the objections is through social proof stories. So when you write your webinar, you're going to have 7 social proof stories. How many?
7.
Okay. Hey, Paul, back there, do we have any more of those jump drives? Is that a yes or a no? Okay, you got a few. Okay, we can give some more stuff away. Can I give some more stuff away? Is that cool?
Yes.
I think I'm also going to give a course away, one of my courses.
Woo!
Okay, are you guys liking this?
Oh, yes.
Are you guys going to follow me and use this? Let me see your hands.
Yes.
So now when you come into the body, then you want to come into the most important thing, which is the close. Now, before I teach you a little bit about that, I'm going to tell you one more case study. And this is another one. Which book?
Hey everybody, this is Greg Davis, Super Affiliate Rockstar.
So let me tell you, does anybody know who Greg Davis is by any chance? Affiliate Rockstar, some of you know. So the majority of my speakers, if you ever go to conferences, it's so funny. Every time I go to conferences like here, about half the speakers are using this blueprint and using my system and training me. So it's so funny every time I go speak. which I'm basically retired anyway, I'm semi-retired. I'll go, oh my gosh, you know, with all my buddies. And this is the system that's using. So all my speakers are using this blueprint, giving me the feedback, okay, and the pulse on exactly what's happening right now in the speaking info business. So this guy, Greg Davis, another one, it's funny, a lot of my testimonials today are of people that don't want to be speakers, they just want to do webinars. So Greg called me up and says, Dave, I want to speak on stage. I want to create a $15,000 coaching program. A high ticket item. A what ticket item?
High ticket
item. How many of you in this room have a coaching program or high ticket item? Let me see your hands. Put them nice and high. Okay? And how come the rest of you don't? So let me give you a good example. Why wouldn't you? So Greg calls me and says, hey, I want to create a coaching program. He wants to create a what?
Coaching program.
Does he have it created yet?
No.
No. We're going to write this down. Pre-sell it. Pre-sell it. Right? Sell it first, build it later.
Nice.
That's a smart way to do business. Why don't you write a book and then try to sell it? I sell my books first and they get paid to write it. Right? I sell my mastermind first before I build it. When you buy an airplane ticket, you buy the airplane ticket first and then take the airplane? When you go to a football game, you buy the ticket first and go to a football game? Why would you pre-sell? Is that just a story or a belief that it's not possible? It's a fear. I get it. A lot of people have fear with it. It's understood. So Greg came and said, I'm going to write a coaching program. So we wrote his coaching program. I built his coaching program, wrote his offer, his webinar. And we launched a webinar. So his coaching program for $15,000. And his first webinar, I think he sold 22 people at $15,000. How much money did he make? Mathematicians in the room? How much? $330,000. First webinar. Woo! Man, that's a Lamborghini. That's a nice house. That's a nice boat. Not bad for a webinar, right?
Yeah.
How many of you now may consider having a high coaching program or consider doing webinars on your hands? Right? You're one webinar away. Right? I mean, to get to $1 million, if you sell a $20 product, how many products you got to sell? A lot. If you have a $10,000 or $50,000 or $100,000 coaching, how many people you got to sell to make $1 million? Well, less. Making sense?
Yes.
I hope you guys are getting this.
Yes.
So the next thing is we got to come to the close. And the close, one of the most important things. But real quick, here's what Greg has to say. Let's see what he has to say real quick. You've been trying to say something all day. He's a funny one.
Hey everybody, this is Greg Davis, SuperAffiliateRockstar.com, and I just got finished my